Hi everyone, it's Alicia Louise Lillington here. I'm a 34-year-old mum of a 20-month-old, and earlier this year, in about March, April, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma. I subsequently went through 8 rounds of chemo over 4 months. The type of chemo I had was ABVD, and then in September or so, I found out that I was in remission and the cancer was gone. But then it was back to normal life. I started a new job in August, so right after I finished chemo. I interviewed for that job in July when I was still going through chemo. And I've been working in that job ever since, and now it's October, but it's actually already November. The time has flown. It feels like this year has been when I say fast-ish at the start, then it really slowed down for me when I was diagnosed and going through treatment and everything. It just felt like it was June for like 6 months, and now all of a sudden it's the end of the year. Now this time of year is interesting for me, and that's probably because I was really sick this time last year, but I couldn't articulate what was going on. And it's exciting for me now to be able to speak clearly, have a little bit more mental clarity, well, as much as I did before, and be back to feeling like myself again, which I didn't even know if I was going to get the opportunity to feel that way. So this time in 2024, I had feelings of fatigue. So I'd go to bed around 7:30, 8 each night. I started to lose my voice. I was coughing every 2 minutes, if not less. So it would be every minute or so. I just didn't feel like myself. And being a new mum, so my daughter would have been around 9 months old at that time. I just put it down to maybe it's, it's because I'm a new mum. Maybe it's because I'm breastfeeding, some of those things. So I really didn't know what was going on. So now that it's coming into summer and it's that season again. So December 25th last year, we went on a massive trip overseas to Italy and then to Oman, which was amazing. But I just remember this time last year, and we were about a month out from that big international trip with a little one, and I just thought, I'm feeling so sick. And chatting to colleagues, they'd say, I think you can get better by that time. I think you'll be all right. But then I wasn't diagnosed for another 4 months. So it's just, this weird feeling, I think, when an anniversary of a time of year comes up. And I was going to the doctor a lot at this time last year, and we were sort of trialing antibiotics and different things and thinking, could it be asthma? Could it be an infection? What's going on? We weren't sure. But I feel so excited that we got to the bottom of it. And I remember, because I always do a bit of a plan for the year ahead, and the plan for 2025 to me was get to the bottom of the sickness and what's going on. And although I didn't anticipate it was something so serious as cancer, and when I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I didn't even know that was a type of cancer. I'm very grateful that I was diagnosed so I could get the treatment, so I could get better. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to get better quickly. The doctor and the literature says when you're recovering from cancer and going into chemo, give yourself sort of 6 to 12 months is some of the different, through the various academic reviewed, peer reviewed journals that I read and the experts that I have chatted to, they all said to give yourself 6 to 12 months to recover. But for me, I like to do things quickly. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to recover within a month or two. And I didn't see results that quickly and burnt myself out and set myself up for failure a little bit, I suppose. So I can kind of see progress now. I can see that my body's slowly getting back to how it was before. And that's about, what are we now? August, September, October. I'm at least 3 months post chemo. And so my advice to you would be, if you are going through a treatment journey or something like that, is you do have to give it time. You can't rush this, even though you might want to, but it does take time to get rid of that fatigue, to get your energy back, to get back to where you want to be. It's going to take time. And if you don't see results straight away, don't be hard on yourself. There were moments in those first couple of months post chemo that I just felt like, am I ever going to get back to being myself again? I'm not sure. But now I'm slowly, day by day, feeling more like myself. I guess something that I always think about, and that a lot of people probably think about after chemo, is your hair. So you can see my hair now. I haven't cut it or anything like that. So this is 3 months after chemo. Yeah, so people keep telling me they love my hair like this. For me, I've always been a long hair girl, so I really miss it. I'm not wearing wigs as much because I've embraced it though, and I know that this is only going to be one chapter of my life that I'm going to have this short hair. It'll grow back. For me, I hope it won't be this short again. I've stopped wearing wigs because I found that the wigs were kind of where the clips are, was like wearing my hair off, and my goal is to really grow it as long as I can. So that's my goal. I feel like people do treat me differently with short hair versus long hair, which is really interesting to observe. It takes a lot less time to style my hair. I used to do, big, beautiful waves, get blow dries regularly, and always a shout out to my beautiful hairdressers at Bombshell Hair in Canberra, because they have been there throughout this journey. And no matter, when I had hair, when I was losing hair, when I don't have hair, they're always so lovely to me. So that's really good. I thought I'd just share some reflections at this point in the journey. And I've also been to a morning tea this morning with my little toddler. So she did have some grubby hands, and I think that's made its way onto my shirt. So if I have any, that's the reality, life of a mum going through this. I guess some of my reflections are that I did apply for a job while I was going through chemo because I didn't have something to go back to, and some family and friends or, counselors and whatnot said, are you sure you're ready to go back to work? Is that too soon? For me, it wasn't too soon. For me, I wanted to put a plan in place. And for me, it's like a garden. I've always thought of it like the seeds you plant today is going to be the garden you grow 2 months, 3 months down the track. And I think I'm in that garden now. I'm starting to see some blooms coming through. And some of those blooms are the amazing colleagues and connections I've made at work. I really love this contract I'm working on. It feels really right for me. Sometimes it is easy to go back to old ways of being. So I probably used to be a bit of a workaholic, really care about my job and work around the clock, do all of these different things. But I just try to really not work after hours is one of my boundaries that I've set in place, or one of the things I've learned. And that's my family time, and that's what's important to me. If I need to take an hour off here or there for a family event, I will. If I need to finish early, I will. But that doesn't mean there's not times that creep back in where you do work a bit later every now and then, or, you are worrying about something happening. I'm really excited to be planning an event up at Parliament House for something that I'm involved in with work, and that feels like things that I used to do. So I had a contract in the past for Prime Minister and Cabinet, Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, federal government, and I got to work up at Parliament House a lot, and something I'm working on now has some touch points there. So that's really cool to be back into that space, because you just see your work at such a large scale, like the small things you do behind the scenes and the programs you work on, and then you see the impact that can have for Australian citizens. And that's what I love about working in the Australian Public Service as an independent advisor and contractor. When you can see something that, a policy that you've worked on, or an IT system that you've implemented, and how that impacts people, I am genuinely passionate about making a difference there. And, at the end of the day, there's a lot of cool work to do in the Australian Public Service, especially in Canberra. I love working with a team that's based around Australia. So colleagues at the moment I'm working with in Melbourne and Brisbane. It's just cool to see that kind of national presence as well. And this week I got to do a presentation to the whole of the organisation I'm working at, and I had 110 people join online, and I was talking about meaningful meetings in a digital landscape and how we sort of do something different so it's exciting. You're not just always like working away on a meeting, another thing in a monotone voice. It's actually exciting, interactive, and I'm thinking how I could potentially turn that into a little speech that I could give a bit more publicly rather than just for this particular organization. I think that would be really cool. This week I also had a dentist appointment, which is good, you know, just some of these things ticking off the box. And I did a radio spot. I got interviewed by a young man called JP, and he interviewed me for his podcast called Talk All Things. It's run by Radio Voice, and it kind of, they offer these opportunities for people living with a disability to learn how to run their own radio show. So that was really cool, and it was facilitated the introduction to do that through my friend Chelsea of Honeybuzz PR. So shout out to Honeybuzz PR as well. Thank you for your ongoing support, which also links into, we got to have brunch with Chelsea yesterday, which was so nice. I love a brunch, and got to have my daughter and my hubby there. And Chelsea has been one of my, Chelsea, I don't know why I'm calling you Chelsea. I think it's because I work, someone at my work, she goes by Chelsea, but you're Chelsea C, you're more of a Chelsea. It was so good to see you and catch up in Canberra, and I always love, catching up with you. I'd love to come down to Melbourne to see you. This morning I got to catch up with a couple of colleagues I used to work with about a decade ago, and one of them's, well, I shouldn't say their age, but I don't think they watch YouTube, so that's good. So I can tell you their age. One's 70 and one's 80. Why do I raise their age? I think it's just because I have friends at all different stages of life, and it's cool to sort of chat to them and get their perspective of this journey I've gone on, what they're going through now. They've known me for such a long time, and they've always kind of just been like these aunties or people I can go to for advice. And I got to bring my daughter along to morning tea. One of them brought their husband as well. And they, I feel like they're kind of like my little life advisors down the track. This morning, and hubby got to have a bit of alone time for himself to work on some projects he's working on. And so now, I haven't recorded in a while because when I have had time to myself, to be honest, you know what I was doing? I was doom scrolling, and that's something I don't want to be doing anymore. Doom scrolling, if you're not familiar, is just looking at your phone, nothing in particular that you're doing, and then a couple of hours have gone by. So I feel more energized when I get a load of washing done, or when I, put some clothes away, tidy up my daughter's toys. It's nice looking, not too bad at the moment. Or, record a video as well. I feel really energized after I record these updates. The other thing I've noticed is from my own journey, and this could relate to you, is being able to see where I was at in different points throughout this journey is really, really good, because I can see, look, I have made progress. On the days I feel like now, okay, I could be a bit fitter, my hair could have grown longer, but if I look back, yes, I had long hair, yes, I was a bit fitter, but I didn't have my voice, I was getting sicker and sicker. And there were moments throughout the last 6 months where I was in hospital. I was so slow, I was fatigued. I didn't have this bedazzling energy that I'm known for. So now I've got it back. I want to use that as a gift. I haven't been going out as much as I used to in terms of coffee catch-ups or events. I'm being really picky and choosy. I get invited to a lot of events, but I can't, I just don't have capacity to go to them. And that's working well for me. I feel like being a bit more selective and just doing, one catch up a week or one event a week is much better. It gives me more time to focus on my day job and my family. And that's kind of where I want to put my energy at the moment. So I just put a note down here in some of my reflections of love of missing out, LOMO, rather than FOMO, fear of missing out. I feel like a lot of this all started with just having an hour last weekend where my in-laws took my daughter, and my husband and I were able to work on cleaning some things out, cleaning out some old baby clothes. Doing that just allowed us to, I don't know, it cleared this little part of my brain that then unlocked and created a butterfly effect that then allowed me to feel vibrant and like myself. I have a few things coming up. It's going to be a really busy time in November, which is exciting. But yeah, I just don't have capacity to take any more on, and that's fine. An event that I used to attend annually occurred the other night, and you know, probably in the past I'd be like, I have to be there, I have to see everyone, but it's okay to rest and to prioritize that and to be at home sleeping and having a cup of tea and just being with my daughter in this, you know, very short window that she's a little one. What else did I have to tell you? I'm feeling happy. I got to present as well to the head of the organization I'm working for, and he was really impressed with the team's work. So that was really encouraging. I just think this job is such the right fit for me, and I really enjoyed my last job and I thought it was a really good fit. But when I did call up and they said, sorry, your contract would be ending, I think I was quite disappointed. And I was sad to go because I thought that was like my absolute people and I thought it was such a good opportunity there. But this other opportunity has been even better. So I wish I could go back and tell myself, don't worry, that was a great opportunity. It's past. It feels weird that you're losing your job when you're calling up to tell them you have cancer, but almost, you know, God has bigger plans for you. That's something my mum's always said. God has bigger plans. I think as well, just reflecting, you know, there's a lot of things that you could say about a journey like this. And I caught up with someone recently and he was saying like his family has just had so many instances of cancer and people passing away. And I know of a young lady around my age with a young daughter who passed away. She was diagnosed pretty much the same time as me in April. And I went to an event hosted by, what's the name? The name just jumped out of my brain. It'll come back to me in a moment. And they did a bit of a clothes swap. It was a really good event, but it's called Rise Above, of course. I don't know, sometimes like with chemo, like, and this journey, things do just go blank for a moment, and that's definitely not my style. I'm the type that always used to know everything. If someone would do a faux pas or a Freudian slip in the past, I'd be like, oh, what's wrong? So I do notice like little, I don't know what's going on with my little synapses in my brain, if some connections have broken apart that I need to rebuild, but that's okay, we'll rebuild. So anyway, this is kind of a serious moment. I went to an event there, and there were a bunch of people who were mourning the loss of their sister-in-law and their daughter-in-law, and she was the same age as me. She had a young child. She was diagnosed around the same time as me, and she didn't make it. And so when I go to events like that, everything's put into perspective. I made it through. I have this opportunity of this beautiful life that I get to live. And, you know, I hope you don't have to go through a cancer journey to realize how amazing it is that you're here right now and what you've got and the opportunities. And, you know, if you're going through a chemo journey, you know, there's all different types of journeys, so I can't speak to your individual journey, but if there are little moments you can just enjoy with loved ones, I encourage you to do so. We honestly don't know how much time we have, so you have to make the most of it. And yeah, just something I'm reflecting on. I also met someone there that I went to go and introduce myself to, and I was like, hey, how you going? Great to meet you. What do you do? Because she was around my age, and she said she's retired. And I was like, okay, like retired. Tell me more about that. And she's like, yeah, I'm actually stage 4. And so I'm not going to have much longer to live. So just enjoying life and being retired. And So, you know, some of these conversations are what comes out. I think as well, sharing my cancer journey, sometimes I'll mention it to different people and they'll say, you know, that me too, that happened as well. Or, you know, I've gone through a cancer journey, like within the last week, there's so many people, you know, I've mentioned it to one lady that we were working together on a particular education piece and she mentioned that she'd had tongue cancer. I emailed someone for a public speaking engagement and they said that they'd just been diagnosed with prostate cancer. I emailed an old mentor of mine as well and I was asking, like, do you have some resources from this amazing speech that you provided me in the past? And he said, I'm actually getting treated for prostate cancer. So I think once you are exposed to this world of cancer, a lot of people around actually are experiencing it too. And so that's why I feel passionate to speak up about it, so that you know that it can be an okay journey. There's definitely crappy moments. There's definitely hard moments. I've cried. I've been upset. I don't think I've been ever angry because, and you know, that is a normal reaction though. So if you go through that, that's totally valid. But for me, it just put me into this place of gratitude and definitely sadness that, you know, there were moments that I thought, I suppose, you know, what makes you sad? There's moments if I thought that I wouldn't be here to see what happened with my daughter as she grew up. That's the moments that made me sad. And that's and to be honest, that's why I started recording these videos, because I thought at least she'll have something to watch and see what mum was like. I didn't want to put too much of her information out there because I respect her privacy, but I just want my daughter to know I love you so much. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me and you amaze me every day. And the same for my husband. He's the best partner. I always joke to him and tell him, you know, congratulations for marrying a legend. You've been a great first husband, as one of my friends would say. But there's sadness and that sort of thing is just that we wouldn't get to hang out forever together. But I mean, if we think about it, you're not going to be here forever. No one's going to make it out of life alive. But yeah, we can just enjoy and be grateful for what we have. And that's a pretty serious theme to think about. But then you just start to be grateful and you see all these golden shining moments. Yeah, I think that's a lot of what has been happening and what I've been thinking about. My cousin's coming down soon to Canberra, so I'm so excited to see her and her new little baby. I can't wait to see her. I've got a friend who is pregnant and having a baby shower soon, so I can't wait to see her. I've got a coast trip planned with my friends. These few things are just so exciting to me. And then we're just planning what we're going to do on Christmas. I think because we went away last year when I was sick, again, that's a big, and do you know honestly what happened? When I was trying to pack for the trip, I just told my husband, like, I don't feel like packing. I don't feel like I can. And it was like my body knew that I was sick and I couldn't go. I mean, there's definitely times I'm a bit bratty and I'm like, oh, I've got to pack and I've got to do this and that and being annoying. But this was a whole other feeling that I just felt I can't put anything in the suitcase. I can't. And it's just like my body was telling me without me knowing or being able to articulate or know what's going on. So I wonder if you know, if that helps you in any way, that would be great. I've also booked back in with my counsellor, Mary, which I'm really excited to chat to her again, because it's through the employee assistance program at my new work. I only got 6 sessions with the old work and I used those all up. But I'm excited to chat to her about making the most of this next chapter. I did a lot of writing throughout my journey and I had these ideas like I'll turn it into a book, but I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. Writing a book is a big undertaking, but there's a lot of reflections there. And when I go back and read through them now, I don't even remember that because I think some part of, you know, the chemicals and chemo I was putting into my body has blanked it out. So Let me know if you need a public speaker or a guest podcaster or anything like that, by the way, coming up for 2026 and beyond. Maybe you're watching this well into the future. I'm really excited as well to see that I've got 70 subscribers. For me, you know, I'm not here for millions of people, but if I can make, well, I am, if you want me to be, but I think, you know, making the difference in the lives of one person who's going through a cancer journey or supporting someone with a cancer journey or a health journey, and with young family as well, that was always my objective. As I said, keeping some memories here so my daughter could see what I was like and what we were like at the time. That's what's important to me. And also sharing this journey for family and friends, because, you know, we catch up, but having the little one with me, when you're catching up as a mum, it's like blah, blah, blah. Oh, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, baby Chino's spilling. Okay. And then that's why I end up like this way. This is a lovely shirt, but yeah, it does have a few little handprints, but I kind of love them in a way. Do you feel that way as a parent, or if you've got a little one in your life, or, you know, even if it's a pet, you get, if you have like little handprints or fingerprints, they're kind of little memories, aren't they? Yeah, I'm doing a big clean out at the moment as well, and I'm finding that quite cathartic, getting rid of a lot of clothes. My stylist, Alex, Lady Alex, thank you for giving me all this style advice. You know, I think I've really leveled up what I've got. It's not even like it's just kind of like removing the things that weren't serving me. I've been a bit better at that. I used to have a lot of clothes that had a lot of patterns, and she was so lovely at telling me, like, you have a lot of natural beauty, so just don't detract from that. Keep, you know, a lower neckline, and keep some block colors. You can't see the full outfit here, but yeah, anyway, I'll have to do a little bit of an update about style as well. Well, thanks for chit-chatting with me. Maybe you watched or listened while you were doing your cleaning. That's what I usually do when I listen or watch a YouTube video. I've got some footage from really early on before I knew I was sick, and I'm just thinking what I could do with that. Like, maybe I could post a video of that and share it so that someone would know, you know, I didn't know I had cancer at this moment, but that's actually what it was presenting as, and some of the ways I was saying, you know, oh, I've got sore ear, I've got this, I've got that. I've got some work to do for the board that I'm on. I want to do more with boards because I really enjoy that. I'm hosting a big dinner this week, actually. I don't have many people coming along. It's kind of a private dinner. I think we've got about 6, but for this event, they usually only get 3 because it's like $100+ for members only. But I'm excited even if, you know, I get to catch up with a couple of the people that have RSVP'd. That'll be really good. Okay, my friends, I feel like we don't even know what exciting things are on the cards next. I'm excited to do some planning for 2026. So maybe I'll bring you along the ride for that. But let me know if there's anything, even if you are my family or friends, that you want to know about the journey or what I'm up to, and we don't get the chance to chat about it in detail. And when I get a little half an hour to myself, I'll try and record an update for you. Yeah, or what do you think I should do with my content? And now, like, very keen for the community to share that with me. Yeah, hope you're having a lovely day. I always have to end with a corny, silly, random ending that I don't know how to end properly. So there you go. That's that. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow until you find your dream. And if you heard that, comment me your favorite musical song in the box down below. Bye guys, have a great day.